Hey, welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about how you move on in order to bring somebody back into your life so we're going to say X, I'm going to try not to say X too much, but bring them back into your life when you're really stuck with a ton of resentment and you're trying to bury it because you're thinking, it's all my fault, everyone is me pushed out, I've done this. So you start taking on all of the blame. And so you suppress all of that resentment and all of those bad feelings that you have about that person and about how they treated you because you were trying to take all the blame yourself. But the thing is, it's still there. Suppressing it doesn't do any good whatsoever. It doesn't do any good to go on and on about it, for sure it doesn't, but it doesn't do any good to pretend it isn't there and pretend it doesn't exist, because it does. And you'll have that underlying vibration of it there all of the time. Even when you're not fully aware of it, it will be there. So you will then be trying to recreate the same relationship. So you will end up, and if you do get glimpses of it, it will just end up being the same as it was before. It's not healthy to take all that blame on yourself, whatever you think about this. And I do believe that everything is me pushed out, I really do. But I do act in a human way. If somebody acts really abysmally towards me, then I will call them out in my head to be like, no, that is not acceptable to me. I do not accept that. I do not put up with that. And I pull away from the situation, knowing that I can bring the situation to me again, a different version of it, just knowing that. So I'm letting that version go, that person go, whatever it was that I didn't like. I'm not prepared to accept it. But then when that person does come to you, and showing signs of the new creation, what you have created, what you need to try to avoid doing is stressing them that you're going to get all of the old stuff back, because then you'll start vibrating that, and that's what you'll then sort of change that creation back to the version that they were before, which is really what you don't want. So don't think, oh, they're going to change back, because why would they? Because they are a new creation. The only way they go back to being as they were is by you feeling it, you vibrating it. If you carry on, so when they come and they show a little bit of the new, really give that momentum. That is so awesome. Oh, that's so awesome. If it doesn't get any better than this, then that's brilliant. I've done that. You don't really mean if it doesn't get any better than this, but what you're doing is giving that momentum. So you just get more and more of that. That's all that you're doing with that. So just give all of the positive momentum, and if you see a little slip or you think, oh, that's a sign of the old behavior, just let it go. Because yeah, you might get a little bit of that, but then as long as it's counteracted with the good stuff, it's fine. Try not to let that negative fester, because fester's a horrible word, isn't it? And it isn't good to let anything fester. So just don't do that. You don't need to. This is a whole new version, but also it doesn't do you any good to take on all of that crap and blame yourself and think, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have said that, if only I'd done this and done that, because it won't help, it won't serve you whatsoever. And once you've dealt with it, you've dealt with that old version, whatever you were seeing before, you've dealt with that. Okay, so you've decided that it's not going to serve you. You've called them out. You can write it down if you want. If you feel better writing it all out and saying, you did this, you did that, you're never going to give them. Don't ever send them the letter, because that will really do your subconscious in, and then you will think, oh, I'm never going to get contact then. You won't be able to believe that your subconscious will not even take it on as a possibility. So you don't need to do that. Just do it. Don't get scared of, well, if I'm vibrating it, then that's what I'm going to get. They're going to feel that, and they're going to feel hate for me and all of that. Just don't think about that. It doesn't matter what that old version thinks, because you don't want that. That's not what you want. And if it helps you, just go with it, get it all out there, and hopefully it'll be a bit of a release, and then you can move on from that point. Also, before you do any of this, I really strongly suggest that you sit down and think, what is it about them, about the essence of them, that I really love and I really want in my life? Because sometimes we do get addicted to the manifesting, addicted to the creation, and we don't stop to think, do I really want this? Because if you're feeling a bit better in yourself, you start to feel a little bit better when you start letting that resentment go. You might find that actually there's not enough there for you to build on. It needs to be something there, a core attraction, love, chemistry, or something there to work with, but you want to build on that. But if there's not really anything there, and you think, actually, when I really think about it, there's not much that I really like about them, and you've just got into that cycle of wanting them back because you know that you can manifest people back, then think about that first, and then whatever it is that you do love about them, write that down. No, it's this, it's that, I love all of this about them. And if they were, and then list on the other side what other aspects you would like them to show to you, this new character that you're creating. Please really avoid thinking of this person as them as they were, because then you'll struggle to sort of believe that any of that new stuff can happen. It really can, honestly. If you haven't ever seen a video, and I'm going to link it down below, it's only just a fun story about how I changed somebody overnight. I was way young at the time, but I did it, and I didn't know I did it, and I did it by wishing that the guy in question felt the same about me that I felt about him, and then he did. The next day he went from just dumping me and not wanting to know, and even my friends trying to persuade him different, he didn't want to know, the next night by telling me that he thought he was in love with me, and completely the opposite than what he'd been like the night before. And my friend at the time just said, well, he's weird. That's ridiculous. How weird is that? Oh God, who would do that? He's messing with your head. But he wasn't, and he didn't know, he didn't have any idea why he'd ended it. He couldn't work it out for himself because he didn't feel like that then. He felt completely different, as I'd wished. And of course, I'm the sort of person that just takes anything. If it comes my way and it's good, I just go with it. I run with it. I always have done. I've never questioned it and thought, well, that's weird. I mean, I did think it was weird, but I didn't care because I got what I wanted. So I wasn't bothered, and I didn't over question it. And I never do. When good stuff happens now, I never sit there and think, oh, and how's that happened? And why has that happened? But what if it goes back to this? I never do that. Absolutely never. If you go with the flow, when they start showing the signs of the new, then just go with it. Give that more and more momentum. You'll just get more and more of that. And also say to yourself, let's just see how this goes. Let's see how it pans out. See how it works out. Don't do it with tons of expectation and constantly looking for results all of the time, because then you will try to micromanage the whole relationship when it does come to you, or if it's just contact to start with. And then you'll just get yourself uptight, and it'll end up going again because you'll be putting out that sort of needy, desperate sort of vibration, and that feeling like, oh, they might stop again. And when you think to yourself, say you're thinking, oh, the contact might stop again, and you really feel that, that is a vibration, and that is a frequency, and that is like a wish, and that is what you will end up getting. So the more you do that and vibrate that purely, what if they stop contact? They will stop contact. I know that's really harsh, and I hate saying harsh things like that, but if I'm not honest about it, then it's better for me to be honest, I think, and that is what happens, because it is all about vibration. Okay, so resentment, deal with it, really don't suppress it, won't do you any good, but when you've got to a point with it, and hopefully you'll feel some relief from doing that, say to yourself, okay, it's done now, I'm done with that person now. Now I'm going to create this person. And as I said before, like a clone with upgrades or something like that, just something that you can have a bit of fun with. And do have fun with this, because look at it this way. You're in whatever situation you're in at the moment. It won't get any worse, will it? It's not going to get any worse. You're only going to start feeling better over time. The way you don't feel better is if you keep trying and trying and trying every single technique under the sun, hoping that the next one is going to be that magic technique that brings them back into your life, and you are sort of thinking of the same person, bringing that same person back, then you will struggle, and it will happen eventually, because you will let go eventually, because we all do, we all move on, but you might then have met somebody else or got to that point where it really doesn't matter to you. So it's all better if we can do it when it does still matter to us, but we just have a really good way of handling it, and we sort of understand ourselves, and we understand how this works. So when you feel that sort of momentum picking up with the negative, like, oh, I feel really rubbish today, I keep thinking about this, and then I'm feeling like they've moved on, and you keep having that vibration of they've moved on, they've moved on, they've moved on. The more momentum you give that, the more evidence you will see of that. And like I said before, you'll probably see a picture of them with somebody else or something like that, or hear that they're seeing somebody, because that again is like a wish. And you don't want to wish for what you don't want, do you? Because whatever this is doesn't know. All it goes with is your feelings. And if you are feeling it, it is a wish. If you think of it like that, it becomes it's not easy to control your feelings, but you really decide that you want to control your feelings because you don't want that crap going out there. So that's it for today's video. I'm doing really well getting out my 2 a week, which is brilliant. If you haven't heard anything about me before, I'm a writer, I'm an author, I've written 4 books, they are all listed below. My son has a Law of Attraction channel, he's called Harrison Ellis, and that's listed below too. I also have a members area on my website. It's £5 a month, and with that you get one-to-one coaching support from me, over 140 modules, and a members hub area where you could ask members questions if you're stuck, or you can give book recommendations, video recommendations, all of that stuff, that's there. Also, I have opened up my Zoom and Skype calls again now. I prefer Zoom. Zoom is my preferred method. So I am booked up for the next 3 weeks. But after that, I'm just going to be completely open about my charges here. If you are a member already, you will pay £65 for an hour. I allow half an hour spillover. So if you go an extra half an hour, hour and a half, I don't charge you any more for that. If you are not a member and you just come to me wanting a Zoom session, then that is £75. It's a flat charge, and again, I will go over half an hour. Can I just say, what I don't do with these sessions is if you came to me and said, okay, I want you to help me manifest my ex back, what I will do is I will give you all of the pointers, and I will get to know your personality, get a feel for you, and give you the best advice for you, given what you are like as a person and how I would do it. What I like to say is, if it were me and I was you in your situation with your personality traits and all of that, this is what I would do. And I give you the best advice that I can, and we talk about it, we talk about your feelings, and you know, and I sort of try to get you on track with those and give you hints and tips about what you can do to pull yourself back when you get on that sort of negative train, and all that kind of thing. But I can't say to you, if you have 2 sessions with me, you will manifest your ex back, because I don't know what's going on inside of you. All I can do is point you in the right direction. So what I prefer to do is self-concept coaching. I do some anxiety coaching anyway, but that's kind of separate for this, but I can do that too. I'm happy to take on Zoom sessions, anxiety, because I feel really passionately about helping people deal with anxiety, because I've suffered with it myself. So, but really it's all about self-concept and moving forward and just changing your life overall, not just bringing that one person back, because there is so much more to life than a person. If you put all of your eggs in one basket, all of your happiness on this person, on being with this person, then you won't be happy, because you cannot rely on somebody else for your happiness. That only comes from you. So if you are happy, that's brilliant. You get happy, you get empowered, and you get feeling awesome, and then people are just drawn to you. They really are. People will be contacting you out of the blue, left, right and centre, people you haven't heard from for ages, and your ex and all of that, and all you have had to do is work on yourself. So I prefer to work that way with you. So the majority of my coaching is based around self-concept, getting you into a feeling good state, helping you find your happy. That's probably the best way to put it. And if you haven't looked at Harry's channel, my son, then that's Harrison Ellis, and that's listed below too. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed, then I would love for you to do that too.